cruising down isolated roads in the middle of almost undisturbed habitats, like what I'm doing right now in the middle of the Everglades, is often the best way to find herps, like reptiles and amphibians, during the summertime at night. However, if you drive slowly enough and look closely enough at the road, you can also come across some really cool insects along the way.
Alright children, this right here is an absolutely gorgeous, tiny little neonate baby brown water snake, Nerodia taxispilota. Now this is the smallest brown water snake I've ever seen, and the smallest water snake in general I've ever seen. Just a tiny little baby. Now you could tell that this is a brown water snake by the overall pale brownish coloration with those little dark brown, almost black rectangles. Sorry, little guy. As well as look at that beautiful checkered underside on those ventral scales. Just a gorgeous little brown water snake. And I'm just gonna take some pictures of this little guy and let it go back into the wild. This right here is the beautiful Amblycorypha floridana, the Florida oblong-winged katydid. Now this is my first time ever seeing a confirmable adult of this species. Now this is the most common species of round-headed katydid in southeast Florida. This is a female, as you can tell by her ovipositor, that long upturned thing at the tip of her abdomen that she's going to use to lay eggs. Now, this is a pretty distinctive species, at least in southeast Florida. It is the only species that would look like this. Now, there's a whole species complex of ones that would look almost identical as this, but this is the only species in that complex that can be found here in southeast Florida. So an incredible find. I'm going to take some pictures and I'm going to let her back go into the environment.
This is a male Florida oblong-winged katydid. Now, the fact that this guy is completely lacking black spots on the top of the thorax eliminates all the other possibilities, at least in southeast Florida. While many other Amblycorypha species also lack the black spots outside of southeast Florida, here this is the only species that lacks them. So really cool seeing both the male and female. This right here is my lifer Cattail Conehead, a relatively small species of conehead katydid that lives basically only in these marshy areas with tall grasses, which is where we're scanning through right now. The reason why this and the many other species in the tribe Copiforini are called coneheads is because if you look at it from a front view or even from a side view, you can see that the front of the face has this structure all the way at the tip of the head. Now, that is just called a cone. But the shape of this cone is very important in identifying different species of this tribe. The cattail conehead's overall body morphology and coloration is relatively distinctive, so you don't really need to see the shape of the cone on the forehead to tell it's a cattail conehead. However, members of the related genus Neoconocephalus are virtually indistinguishable except for the shape and color pattern on that cone.
So this right here is some member of the genus Orchellimum. Now those are known as the greater meadow katydids because of their relatively large size compared to other meadow katydids, as well as their habitat out in these open kind of grassy marshy areas. Now this is a female, so it's very hard to identify, but based on that kind of pale pinkish color, my guess is that this is the handsome meadow katydid. Now I don't know for sure. It would take seeing a male cerci or the appendages at the tip of his abdomen to confirm. But I'm pretty certain that this is this species. It's definitely in that genus, and it's a really cool find. Alright children, this right here is my lifer, Florida brown snake. Now it has quite a boring name, to be honest, and as you can see, its appearance is also quite monotonously brown. But the Florida brown snake is still an exciting find for me because I have never found this species before. Now the Florida brown snake, on first glance, it's just completely brown, but if you could look, there's a very slight checkering pattern on the back. A very faint, but you could see white and dark areas of checkering. The face, there's also a pale area on the cheek, slightly paler than the rest. And if you look on the belly, there's these little black spots running down each side of the belly. So, even though it's a pretty dull brown looking species of snake, it's still quite distinctive once you get a really good look at it. So, I'm just gonna appreciate finally finding a Florida brown snake. I can't believe I'm actually saying that, and then release it. So let's keep going. All right, we're gonna release this beautiful Florida brown snake right back into the habitat. Just like that, there goes that brown snake. That right here is a southern two-stripe walking stick. Now these guys can actually release a poisonous liquid out of them, and they are really good at shooting it in a very specific direction. A lot of times these guys aim for the eyes. So I'm going to be very careful picking this up. This is a big female. Alright, so I'm being extra careful holding her right now. But as you can see, she is very calm in my fingers right now, not even thinking about spraying me. Just walking around like a walking stick would, of course. Very calm. You can see why these are called the southern two-stripe walking sticks. As full-grown adults, they have these two pale lines running down each side of their back, from behind the eyes all the way to the tip of the abdomen. Just a beautiful species. Incredible. Now I'm not going to let her abdomen face towards my face, so I'm going to let her go and we'll keep going.
Just for comparison to that absolutely massive female, this is a full-grown adult male southern two-stripe walking stick. As you can see, he's about a third the size of this female, but has basically the same color pattern. Everything looks almost exactly the same on this male. It's just much smaller than the female, and they look extra awkward when they're mating because of that massive size difference.
Alright children, check this out right here. What I have, this is my first time ever grabbing a peninsula ribbon snake. A very, very long and thin snake. You can see it has those bright stripes on it. Honestly, this is a pretty dull colored one. I've seen these guys get blue, bright yellow, in pictures at least. And in person, I did see a blue one once, but I couldn't grab it. But this is my first time ever grabbing this species. Now this is in the same genus as the garter snake, and as you can see, it has that similar kind of checkered pattern to the really common garter snakes. But as you can see, if you look at the eyes, look right in front of the eyes, is this kind of white patch right in front of the eyes. Else that combined with the much longer, thinner body shape should help easily differentiate this from the eastern garter snake. So I'm just going to release this absolutely gorgeous peninsula ribbon snake back. Watch this. Just like that. Perfect.